decent up here. There's a couple of, you can see there's a couple of green pods in here yet, rubbery, but that's very minimal though. Frost did the magic, so it's pretty good. Pretty clean coming into the combine. Well, hope we can finish up here today now. Pete's sakes. Screwing around enough now. Not just with the repair, but just driving around for extra couple hours, just transport, roading. Yeah, pretty nice in some spots here. Pretty nice, actually. Overall, not too bad. Of course, there's some usual light spots yet, but where you see more gray color, it's a little bit thinner then, but that was some more greener beans that turned gray, but for the most part, there's nice beans. Nice bean plant. Dad had to go home real quick. A trucker came for the durum, so something with the organic stuff. The trucker had to get his truck cleaned, you know, it's required. So I see there must have been a raccoon here. Tracks that wasn't there yesterday. But so yeah, he was behind. Then the trucker was supposed to be here this morning, but didn't happen. Cleaning took longer than expected. I had to run around a little bit, and Mom's gonna zip up here. Then she can run the green cart for a little while till get stuff situated again. I'm gonna go on trucking duty for a little while. So yeah, I hope that's enough of that. So basically though, with the rotor though, on the back of the gearbox, you know, there's a shaft that comes out, a spline shaft. There's a snap ring on way in on the shaft, on the spline. There's a snap ring in there where a big heavy connector slides onto, where it butts up against that snap ring so it can't go forward anymore. And then there's a big heavy thrust washer. And then there's
I don't know if I'm hearing noises. It almost seems like I hear like a little bit of a whining noise once in a while, like something struggling to keep up. I don't know what it is.
I'll see if I hear anything when you come by. I'll listen. But essentially that bolt backs out and gets out far enough, then it just breaks, snaps off then after a while. But where the bolt snapped, the bolt was probably out. The bolt was out 80% of the way, and then that's where it broke. And then the other piece actually fell out then too. Then so, just because the way the rotor spins, the left-hand side, the right-hand side spins the correct way for that bolt. So I pray to God that nothing happens to the right-hand rotor, because that could be. That gearbox is probably 500 pounds on that, so that's the 2-speed gearbox on that side. So that's at least twice as heavy as the left-hand side. And yeah, but the other rotor, left-hand rotor, spins spins counterclockwise. So with how that bolt threads in, it's causing a little bit of a problem. We think we know what's happening now. That's maybe hearing the header a little bit whine on the left side. I don't know when it starts getting heavier stuff. I don't know. Couldn't really tell anything.
Kind of almost what I thought it was too. I don't know. Maybe just getting heavier beans. I was going a little too quick. I don't know.
I know when I first started out, I was going a little too fast. I got it over 90% engine load. I usually have my door open in the tractor, so if I hear something funny, I should pick up on it. But anything with that, what I was talking about though, we think what's happening is when that connector goes on, there's a little bit of backlash on it where it's what we were told it's not supposed to be tight, which it isn't. You know, it butts up against that snap ring. When you have everything, that bolt tightened out, that thrust washer, there's a little bit of play there where the coupler is free to move. It's not tight. what we're thinking is either, I'm not sure, either when the rotor gets loaded or when the load gets taken off of it, the power, if that connector, because the way the rotor spins counterclockwise for that bolt, I think that one thing we can guess is that connector hits that thrust washer, and ever so slightly, that vibration over time and everything, just that counterclockwise force, just starts to slowly loosen it over time. Then we put a really thin shim washer, oversized washer, between that thrust washer and the connector on that shaft, where it's still, the connector's still free to move, but it makes just a tiny little barrier between that and the thrust washer. So hopefully if there's any, it'll absorb the impact and rotation, that'll get distributed to that little shim instead of it putting the torque on that thrust washer. Then maybe that little shim will absorb a little bit. We're not sure, but trying something else because the same thing happened. So the thing that would probably solve this, I don't know what it's like on the newer CRs, what they're like, but if it was if the threads on that bolt were actually backwards, opposite thread, I don't think you'd have a problem because it'd be spinning the correct way. Reason why we haven't had a problem with the right-hand side rotor, thank God, as I mentioned before, that if something happens with that rotor, having to deal with that gearbox, I don't know how in the heck we're going to deal with it. That's, I wouldn't even know how to start with that. I don't even want to think about it right now. If something were to happen to that thing, that'd be a nightmare. At least we got it done in quicker time because we knew exactly what we needed and what we needed to do. So I think the first time we fixed it, well, of course we had to go parts. We actually had an extra bolt on hand because we bought 2 bolts at the time, and yeah, so we had an extra bolt on hand, and yeah, I guess we needed it again 5 years later. We did put thread locker on the last time too, because that was like the service bulletin or something mentioned that, like, I don't know if it wasn't torqued right or no thread lock. I don't remember what the cause of that, but like I said, we put thread locker on last time too, and that didn't even care. The worst part is having to move the gearbox, handle the gearbox, and then the next worst part is having to fish the stuff out of the rotor without pulling the rotor. We got to take a long rod, tape them together to extend it more with a strong magnet at the end, and fish it in there inside the rotor with not much room, and try to fish out the big connector, thrust washer, and find the broken bolt. Supposedly, the first time we fixed it, we thought that was going to solve the issue completely. I don't know if anybody else has had future trouble again after fixing it the first time, but it happened to us again though. So I mean, it's a bolt you can't check unless you take the gearbox off. That's the only way. I mean, we might have to be proactive on it because, oh yeah, hush push. In a year, probably in 2 years from now, maybe, we might just take that gearbox off again and check it. Check that bolt. It's a pain in the butt, but if we can catch it before the parts fall off into the rotor, that saves us a lot of time and a lot of headache then. So we might just have to do that maybe just next year, or maybe in 2 years from now we'll pop it off and just see how it's doing, see if something's changed or not. Maybe even spin that bolt back up, put a new bolt in with brand new thread locker again too. I don't know. Yeah, washboardy roads. This isn't even bad here. The next 2 miles is just crud. Been driving this way loaded and then empty we take a different route. Loaded isn't as bad, but empty though is shake a vehicle apart. Try to straddle the road a little bit here. It's a little bit better on to get out of the main trail on the road, but still a little bad yet. I mean, just seriously. Oh my gosh. That's the worst part right there. Oh, got back up here again. Still moving along. Got quite a bit done, so doing fairly good. But unlike yesterday, I can eat my sandwich in peace. Hope it stays that way. I'm too lazy to get out of the truck right now. I want to sit down. You get what you get for footage. I'm tired. I'll try if I could just sit for a few minutes like this. Man, there is so much dust in the air. That is absolutely crazy. Camera isn't actually doing it justice. It looks like fog off in the distance. Looks like fog. It's absolutely nuts. Pretty clear over here. A lot of traffic today, a lot of truckers. I see combines going by, and what a busy day. Pick up here again. Brought the air tank on. The air filter warning came off on the combine, plugged air filter, which, yeah, with the way the dust is, it's pretty insane right now. It's just a puff of dust out the back of the combine. It is dry. I think these beans are holding together really well. They really are. So must be a good stock on there and everything, so that helps. Kind of holds together a little better, surprisingly. Let's see, these are switched varieties of beans since our seed dealer changed brands. So we used to grow mostly Pioneer beans, but now this is actually channel stuff. And I don't know, these beans just seem to be holding together better, a little bit better. Like the pods, like there's, I don't know what it is. There just seems like there's less shed. It's just the way the plant was this year, but it seems to be a little bit better. But I had my leaf blower, had another tank on the pickup here, so we kind of just tapped on the filter, got a lot of the crap out, but you know, doing what we can. So he's back going again. Hope he'll finish. I mean, I didn't clean that air filter off that long ago, but it don't take much.
The dust coming out of this combine is just unbelievable.
Those beans are nice there. It's starting to get a little cooler out. Man, that's nuts. Good grief, dust. Luckily the wind's a good direction again today. Southwest. It's kind of south right now. Probably grease the combine again. Yeah, no, air filter gets bad. I can see kind of the dust rising around the engine compartment, kind of comes through from the header through the machine and up by the engine compartment, so it gets a little more dust up there. Heading west is pretty bad for the dust for the combine. That's where it ingests a lot of dust. Heading east, not so bad. Man. That is some dust. Oh, almost can't see the combine. Come on. Jeez, that's ridiculous. Really, I'm not seeing a whole lot on the ground either. That's even from before to when I was here last. I'm not even seeing much on the ground when I'm looking. It's just the type of year, but it seems like the stalks on these variety of beans just seem to be pretty good. I mean, there's some that were blown over a little bit from the wind, but haven't had any beans that were completely leveled yet. We've had some windy days this fall too, but it's a good problem to have though. Like, beans are doing better than we thought they're going to do this year, so that's good. It's good. Kind of a bugger of a problem to have fighting the storage here a little bit, but better than the bins being empty, right?